The instant your paycheck hits your account, a clock starts ticking, and you've got about 15 seconds, before your brain quietly starts spending money you haven't even touched yet. It doesn't feel like a decision. It feels like a thought. Maybe I'll finally grab those sneakers. Maybe I'll order in all weekend. Maybe I've earned a little treat. And just like that, before you've even opened your banking app, the money is already spoken for in your head at least, which honestly is almost as dangerous as spending it outright. But here's the thing nobody tells you. Those same 15 seconds are where everything either goes wrong or goes right. Because if you already have a plan before the paycheck lands, your brain never gets the chance to hijack it. You flip the script, and suddenly you're doing something that puts you ahead of 99% of people without needing more income, more discipline, or more luck. Hey, I'm Eddie, and what you're looking at right here, this pipe system behind me, is the exact framework I'm going to walk you through today. Every dollar that comes in gets directed somewhere with a purpose. No leaks, no guessing, no waking up 2 weeks later wondering where it all went. If you're done watching your paycheck vanish and you're ready to actually build something with the money you're already earning, stick around. Like this video if it helps and subscribe, because we're just getting started. Let me paint you a picture of what payday looks like for most people. The notification hits, there's a little jolt of relief, maybe even a smile, and then almost immediately life starts taking its cut. Rent, car payment, the phone bill, some subscription you forgot you had, a grocery run that somehow cost way more than expected, a quick online order that felt completely reasonable at the time. And then it's 2 weeks later, and the account's running low again, and there's that familiar tightness in the chest, that low-level financial anxiety that just sits there, quietly, in the background of everything you do. Sound familiar? That's not a you problem, that's a system problem, or rather the complete absence of one. Most people have no real relationship with their paycheck. It arrives, they react to it, and the month decides what happens next. Bills take what they take, wants sneak in through the gaps. And saving is supposed to happen with whatever's left, except there's never anything left. There can't be because nobody planned for there to be. Here's the reframe that changes everything. Your paycheck is not a reward for surviving another month. It is not permission to decompress. It is a tool, your future financial freedom, delivered to your account in installments, waiting to be directed somewhere meaningful. Every single dollar in that deposit has a destination. The only question is whether you choose it, or whether life chooses it for you. Look at what's behind me. This pipe system isn't complicated. Money flows in, and instead of pooling up and evaporating, it gets rooted. Some goes to necessities, some builds a cushion, some goes to work quietly in the background, growing while you sleep. The pipe doesn't care if you're tired. It doesn't get emotional. It doesn't forget. It just runs. That's the entire secret. Not hustle, not sacrifice. A system that runs on structure instead of willpower, because willpower is a muscle, and muscles get tired, especially at the end of a long month. And here's what makes this genuinely uncomfortable to hear. The size of your paycheck matters less than you think. Someone earning $50,000 a year with this system in place will end up in better financial shape than someone earning double that with no plan. The higher earner will still be working in their late 70s, not because they didn't make enough, but because they never learned how to keep what they made. The system is the advantage, and today, step by step, we're building yours. Here's where most people make their first mistake, and they make it before they've moved a single dollar. They sit down, they look at their expenses, and they start listing everything that feels necessary. The streaming subscriptions, the gym membership they keep meaning to use, the monthly box that shows up at the door, the upgraded phone plan. And because they've been paying for these things for so long, the brain has quietly reclassified them. They don't feel like choices anymore. They feel like bills. But there's a hard difference between what you need to survive and what you've simply gotten used to. And that difference is the first pipe. The necessity pipe has one job: catch only your true survival costs. We're talking rent or mortgage, basic utilities, lights, water, heat, groceries, transportation to work, health insurance. The things that, if they disappeared tomorrow, your actual life would start falling apart. Not your comfort, not your routine, your life. Everything else is negotiable. Now here's the number you're aiming for. Your true necessities, the real ones, not the comfortable ones, should come in at or under 60% of your take-home income. That's the ceiling. If your survival costs are eating more than 60 cents of every dollar you bring home, the pipe is already leaking, and everything that comes later, the emergency fund, the investments, all of it gets squeezed before it even has a chance. Go through your expenses and be ruthless. Not cruel to yourself, ruthless about the truth. If it's not keeping a roof over your head, food in your kitchen, or getting you to work, it doesn't belong in this pipe. It belongs somewhere else in the system, or it gets cut entirely. And while you're doing that, there's one cost that belongs in this pipe that people consistently underestimate, and it's the one that can quietly wreck you even when everything else is going right. Your credit score. The credit system is one of the least forgiving systems most of us will ever deal with, and it doesn't care about your intentions or your circumstances. Miss a payment even once and the damage shows up fast and lingers long. But here's the part that shocks most people. Even a 97% payment record isn't considered good. 3 missed or late payments out of every 100 and the system starts treating you like a risk. Not a rough patch, a risk. That means higher interest rates on loans, worse terms on housing, and doors that simply don't open. So minimum payments aren't just a financial habit. They're a protection strategy. They belong in your necessity pipe the same way your rent does as a non-negotiable. Get this pipe right and you've built the foundation. Everything else in the system rests on it. But first, you have to be honest, genuinely, uncomfortably honest, about what surviving actually costs you. Most people aren't, and that's exactly why the pipe leaks. Once your necessity pipe is locked in, most people want to jump straight to the exciting part. Investing, growth, watching numbers climb. And that instinct makes sense. That's where the real wealth gets built. And it's a lot more motivating to think about than a savings account sitting quietly in a bank doing almost nothing. But skip this next step, and everything you build after it is sitting on sand. Before a single dollar goes toward investments, you need a shield, not a strategy, not a portfolio, a shield. And the boring truth is that it looks like the least exciting financial product in existence, a plain, liquid savings account that you do not touch unless everything goes sideways. This is your emergency fund, and its only job is to exist. 3 to 6 months of living expenses. That's the target. Not 3 to 6 months of your current lifestyle, 3 to 6 months of your necessity pipe costs. The number you calculated in the last step. Rent, utilities, food, transportation, the baseline. If your true monthly necessities run $2,000, you're building a wall somewhere between $6,000 and $12,000, and you don't stop until you get there. Now here's why this feels boring, and why that's actually the point. This money isn't meant to grow. It's not meant to impress anyone. It's not an investment, and you shouldn't treat it like one. It needs to be liquid, meaning you can get to it within a day or two without penalties, without selling anything, without waiting for a market to cooperate. A high-yield savings account works. A money market account works. A locked-away investment fund does not. Think about what life actually throws at people. A car engine that dies without warning. A medical bill that shows up 3 months after you thought the insurance handled it. A job that disappears with 2 weeks' notice and a handshake. These aren't worst-case scenarios. These are Tuesday. These are the ordinary disasters that derail ordinary people, not because they're catastrophic, but because there was nothing in place to absorb the impact. Without a shield, every one of those moments becomes a crisis. You raid the investment account. You go into debt. You make a panicked decision under pressure that costs you far more in the long run than the original problem ever would have. And the cycle continues, working hard, almost getting ahead, and then getting knocked back to zero by something you could have prepared for. With a shield, it's just an inconvenience. You handle it, you replenish the fund, and you move on. No spiral, no setback, no lost momentum. That peace of mind is worth more than any return rate on any investment. Because an investment you have to cash out early in a panic isn't building wealth, it's just delayed spending. Build the shield first, make it boring, make it untouchable. Then and only then, it's time to start building the engine. With your necessity pipe sealed and your emergency shield in place, something shifts. The financial anxiety that used to live quietly in the background, that low hum of what if something goes wrong, starts to fade. And when that noise goes quiet, you can finally think clearly enough to do something most people never get around to doing at all. Building actual wealth. Not saving, not surviving, building. And this is where the pipe system starts working in a direction most people never experience, not just protecting what you have, but quietly multiplying it while you sleep. The first place this money flows is the one most people walk past every single day without realizing what they're leaving behind. Your employer-matched retirement plan. If your company offers a match and you're not contributing enough to capture every dollar of it, you're turning down free money. Not metaphorically, literally. Your employer is offering to add to your retirement fund simply because you put your own money in, and if you don't take it, it disappears. Nobody holds it for you. Nobody reminds you, it just doesn't happen. This is the single highest returning financial move available to most working people, and it requires almost no expertise. Contribute enough to get the full match. That's it. Start there. Once the match is captured, the next pipe runs into something equally unglamorous but staggeringly powerful over time: index funds. Forget trying to pick individual stocks. Forget timing the market. Forget the hot tip from someone at work who's been really studying this one company. Index funds don't require you to be clever. They require you to be consistent. They track the broad market. They spread risk across hundreds or thousands of companies at once, and historically, over long enough stretches of time, they grow. Not every year, not in a straight line, but over decades, the direction has been relentlessly upward. And the engine that makes this genuinely life-changing isn't the fund itself. It's compound interest, the mechanism where your returns start generating their own returns, which generate their own returns, which keep going long after you've stopped paying attention. It starts slowly. It feels invisible for years. And then one day the numbers stop looking like savings and start looking like something else entirely. Here's the uncomfortable truth about this engine, though. The single most expensive mistake you can make is waiting. A 10-year delay in starting doesn't cost you 10 years of growth. It can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars by retirement, because every year you wait is a year that compound interest doesn't get to work. The engine doesn't care about your reasons. It only counts the years. You don't need a lot to start. You need to start. The necessity pipe handles survival. The emergency shield handles chaos. And now this, the wealth engine, handles your future. One pipe left, and it's the one that makes everything else automatic. Here's the honest problem with everything we've built so far. It works beautifully on paper. The pipes are logical. The numbers make sense. The strategy is sound. But there's one variable that has quietly derailed more good financial plans than bad investments, unexpected expenses, or low income ever have. That one variable is you. Not because you're undisciplined, not because you don't care, but because you are a human being who gets tired, gets stressed, gets distracted, and occasionally gets paid on a Friday when the weekend is calling, and the last thing you want to think about is manually moving money between accounts. Willpower is a muscle, and like every muscle, it fatigues. And the financial system, the ads, the notifications, the one-click purchases, is specifically designed to catch you when that muscle is at its weakest. So the final step in the pipe system isn't about money at all. It's about removing yourself from the equation entirely. Automation is the protocol, and it is the reason the whole system actually holds together long-term. Here's how it works. You go into your bank today, not someday, and you set up automatic transfers scheduled for the day after payday, not the day of. The day after, once the deposit has cleared and the money is sitting there. One transfer feeds your necessity pipe coverage. One moves a fixed amount into your emergency shield until it's fully built. One routes your investment contribution to your retirement account or brokerage. Every dollar gets directed before your brain even registers that the paycheck arrived. You never see it sitting there. You never have to decide. You never have to remember. And that matters more than most people realize, because the version of you who set up these transfers, the calm, focused, future-oriented version sitting down with a plan, is always going to make better decisions than the version of you at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday who just got home exhausted and happens to notice a balance that looks, for just a moment, like it has a little room to breathe. Don't give that version of you the opportunity to redirect the pipe. Once the automation is running, something remarkable happens. The anxiety shifts. Instead of wondering where the money went at the end of the month, you already know because you told it where to go at the beginning. Instead of hoping there's something left to save, saving already happened before spending even started. Instead of relying on good intentions, the system runs on good architecture. And Eddie, the guy in the orange polo who used to check his balance twice a day just to confirm his fears, he walks into work differently now. Not because he's suddenly rich, because he knows the pipes are running, the shield is holding, the engine is building, and none of it needed him to be perfect. It just needed him to set it up once. That's the whole system. Now go build yours. If you believe that true financial freedom isn't about how much you earn, it's about building a system that works while you sleep, protects you when life breaks down, and grows quietly in the background until one day the number stops looking like savings and starts looking like options. Like and share this story. Subscribe now for more stories like this. And check out the 2 videos showing on your screen right now, specially crafted for you.